There has to be a necessity for another female to be part because it's economically structured. So when we want to embark upon a new endeavor that can make all of us the benefactors, that'd be the thing that would commence the operation.
Give me an example of a situation that requires number two wife.
Well, this is the first wife that got involved with this relationship. I've been with Aminette for 19 years. We've been together since 12, 13 years old.
That's amazing.
And so,
since you've been 12?
Yes.
Wow.
As we grow and we develop, we began to understand more about economics, and we wasn't really left with any inherited wealth. And considering that wealth really begins at $150,000 a year, and the threshold for poverty for a family of 4 is about $32,000 a year, and for an individual is about $15,000 a year, neither her and I combined would get us anywhere near the point of being able to amass real wealth. And so we use the polygynous construct as a catalyst to embark upon those type of endeavors. So we opened up a bookstore, and we needed assistance. And so when I presented the idea to Ra'ed, whom we knew for a period of time because she used to come to the bookstore, we then found out where we can establish some kind of reciprocity or something that can be mutually beneficial for her and for us.
Were you surprised when here you are in the bookstore and the owner walks over to you and says, "Hey, I'm looking for a second wife. What do you think?" Were you surprised?
That's not exactly how it happened, but yes, I was.
So
it's not something that you're exposed to.
Right, that's right.
Initially, like we don't learn this in school.
Right. And so, what was your first impression, your first thought when
the first thought I actually had was I was just like, does she know? Right. That was my first thought. It was natural. And so I seen them two together, and I was just like really happy for them. She was pregnant, and she looked gorgeous. Like she just was this dark African-looking queen with her afro, you know. And I was just like, wow, you know. So that was the first thought I had. I was just like, does she know, you know? But yeah, that's pretty much the first thought.
And then so he says, yes, she knows. And you say, okay, let's talk, the three of you? Or did you just bring her home?
No.
Oh, what we did, we all talked. I, of course, got permission from my wife, Aminette, to engage her and present the idea to her. And then we all eventually talked after I spoke to her, and we had a meeting.
Are you guys like legally married, or you just say wife?
Oh, of course, bigamy is against the law, but I have contracts with each of my wives.
With the wife, okay. Were you surprised when your wife said yes to a second wife?
No, I wasn't surprised. What I would say is I would be surprised some years prior.
Right.
Because that definitely wouldn't have been her disposition.
So you meet her, and then what happened in your mind? You're like, this is a good one to be with?
Well, actually, yes, because like they mentioned, she has been coming around to the bookstore for years before we even consider her as a co-wife. So it's not like, you know, a random person off the street. Like, I've actually seen her, I've seen her family.
Right.
You know, we're pretty much on the same path. So I said, this would be a good sister.
How was Brother Polite able to convince you to do this?
Wow, good choice of words. Well, like, for me, I thought more of the future. And as they mentioned, I was conceiving at the time. So I know I didn't have both parents. There are things that I was lacking growing up. And I wanted more. No, I wanted more for my child.
Right.
So I said, you know what, I can see how I can benefit, because I also wanted to educate my child. So I was able to homeschool. My child was able to see both parents, and she was able to grow into inherited wealth, because we already erected our own businesses. So I said, you know, it's different, but I'm willing to give it a try. And he showed me results. Like, I've seen results, and she was very positive. Right? It was very positive. We was on the same path, like mentally as well.
Oh, okay.
And we all wanted more for each other.
Right.
So I said, okay.
That's amazing. And so, were you raised by both parents?
Nah, my father walked out at age 8, and I met my mother when I turned 17. She died the week I met her.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
From cancer and diabetes.
And how about you? Were you raised by both parents?
No.
No.
My father left when I was young. I don't remember what he looks like. But I had a stepfather.
Women don't normally like each other. And so how do you ladies deal with each other? Because you know how women are, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm a woman, right?
Right. So how do you guys deal with each other when that thing comes up?
Okay, well, it's like this. Siblings, right? They all don't get along. Like, if it's something personal, like, say, Ra'et and I, like, I'll go to her, or she'll come to me, and, like, we'll sit down and we'll build. But the main thing, we normally just have everyone out, children included. Everyone speak their mind. This is what's bothering me. How can we fix the situation?
And you feel the same way about it? That's how you work it out?
Yeah, pretty much. So we all know, like, females can be very catty.
Yeah.
We know that can come into play, or the ego, and so it's really just bearing in mind what we started this for.
Right.
And also knowing a person, because when you get to know a person, then you understand that they're no longer your enemy. You don't have to actually compete against them, you know, because you're for them and they're for you. So it just makes it easier when things like that come along.
And so when he brought in the next two, all three of you got together and discussed the same
That's
process.
usually how it is. And ultimately, before that even happens, we'll get a feel of the female. Because everyone is inherently good and has inherently bad in them too. It's a choice.
Right.
So it's really vibing with the female itself, because honestly, he may be the center of the relationship.
Right.
But if the females are not in a cohesive unit, if they're not communicating and they're not for it, it's not going to work.
That's true.
It's really not going to work.
Do you have children for him?
No, I don't have any children.
How many do you have?
I have one.
You just have one. So is there only one child?
No.
There's 3 children.
Oh, so the other 2 wives have some?
Yeah.
Right.
That's amazing, man, that you got 4 wives. So I'm looking at the video last night. All you guys are pretty. You choose pretty women, too. I noticed that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I was thinking, I was watching the video,
Yes.
you know, so I can get some idea of what's going on. How do you have sex with all of them? And how do you,
I knew that was going to come. Everyone asks.
how do you
He had to
feel?
warm it up, you know, loosen it up.
Because I'm thinking, this is a lot of work, and sex wears you down after a while,
This
right?
is true.
And so how do you have sex with 4 women? Do you make dates, or how do you do it?
We're not too mechanical about it.